After logging into JeddAI and opening the JeddAI portal, students will be able to see the task as a task bubble on their schoolwork page. After clicking on the task bubble, they will then see the question or task instruction, as well as an area to add their response. If you have requested students to do a handwritten submission, then they can click on the handwritten tab here. This will allow them to upload files in the form of an image or PDF. By clicking the select file button or dragging files directly into this section, students will then be able to order those pages and preview them before the handwritten response is converted into a typed response that they can edit and submit. As a teacher, you will be able to see the original handwritten version as well as the converted version that you can then mark. In this case, assuming that the student is doing a typed response, they can simply enter their response in this section here, just as they would on a Word document or Google Doc. Now, before this student submits their response, they need to complete the self-assessment task. That is, they need to highlight different areas of their response that satisfy the particular focus areas or self-assessment areas that you selected for this task. So in this case, the student might say that this part of their topic sentence is a link to the question. The student might then decide that this area here is their quote, this area here is a technique, this area here is a quote, and so on. By doing this self-assessment activity, students will pick up on areas that they have missed and then edit their work before submitting for feedback. You can also instruct students to leave a comment or a justification for these particular elements. By clicking on the box after highlighting in the area, there will be a section where a student could add a reflection on their decisions. After completing the self-assessment stage, which can even be done after uploading and converting a handwritten response, students can then submit their task for feedback. Coming back to your teacher JeddAI portal now, we will see that the task has moved from the assigned column to the in progress column because we now have at least one submission. Significantly, because we chose to use the teacher AI assisted option for feedback, within 60 seconds of receiving this submission, JeddAI will already have produced a first draft of feedback in the background. Simply click on the bubble to view the feedback. Initially, you will see some overall feedback on the side here. However, we are going to ignore that for now. The first thing you might like to look at is not only the student's response, but also their self-assessment areas. So you can clearly see here where the student has highlighted those particular elements. You can leave a response to these elements by clicking on those boxes and adding in a teacher reply here. Now, to annotate this student's response and to see what JeddAI has provided in terms of a first draft of feedback, simply click on the comments tab up here next to the self-assessment area option. Now we can see that JeddAI has already gone through this response and provided a few useful comments. JeddAI has used the comment bank that you selected for this task and not only identified some relevant areas in need of improvement, but also provided some suggestions as to how the student could improve the response. To view those practical suggestions, simply click on each comment box and you'll be able to view the examples. So we can see here, the student has fallen into the trap of storytelling. They haven't analyzed the text. JeddAI has picked up on that and told the student that they need to focus on the analysis more than describing the story. It has then provided an example of what that might look like. If you would like to edit these suggestions, including either the overall comment or the specific example, simply click the 3 dots in the top right here and click Edit. You can then modify, remove, or add anything you like. Just make sure to click Submit once you have made those changes. Importantly, as you click through, you'll notice that the examples use as much of the student work as possible. So it will replicate the student's writing with the exception of one part of the response where it can provide an example of how it could be improved. If you would like to add your own comments in addition to the JeddAI suggestions or to replace the JeddAI suggestions, then you can simply highlight the relevant area of the text and use your comment banks or add a manual comment. For example, here, if we're worried that the student is simply list in, we can highlight power and corruption and click the comment icon here. We will then see the comment bank that we selected when setting up the task. In this case, the issue might be that we haven't provided a specific enough idea that directly links to the question. So we can click on that comment and it will automatically add that in. You can also add manual comments or examples to supplement these. If you would like to add your own comment separate to the comment banks, then simply click the comment icon and start typing your comment at the top. That will then add in as a further comment. After you've added your specific annotations, you can then add overall comments and apply your rubric by clicking the comment icon on the right side of the page here. You'll notice that because we did AI-assisted feedback, there is already a suggestion for some overall comments. To change or add to these comments, simply click on this box and start typing. The JeddAI suggestions will be personalized to the student response and provide a few key areas that they can work on, as well as some areas that they have done well. If you make any changes to the overall feedback, make sure to scroll to the bottom and click Update. You can also add audio feedback by clicking the Add Audio button here. This will use whatever microphone is connected to your device. The final element is the marking criteria, the template that you added when setting up the task. You can see here that JeddAI has gone through and provided some indicative grade levels that you can then edit. Simply click Expand on the rubric, and you will see JeddAI's suggestions for the particular grades. By clicking any of these boxes, you can alter that suggestion before clicking Save Criteria. This allows you to have the final say over any particular comments or suggestions. Finally, if something in a student's response stands out to you and you would like to use it as an example for the class or a subset of students, then you can simply highlight the sentence or the area of the response that is of interest to you, and it might be exemplary or non-exemplary. And then instead of clicking the comment icon on the top, click the share icon on the bottom. You'll then be able to select the relevant classes that you would like to share that response with. You can even select specific students from a class who you think would benefit the most from the example and your commentary. Before sharing that part of the response, make sure to add a teacher's note so that students know why you are sharing it with them. Once you are finished, simply click Share. There are two ways to submit feedback to the student. You can click Submit Feedback, and that will be the end of this particular task, or you can click Reassign Task if you want the student to resubmit after applying the feedback. In this case, we will just click Submit Feedback. Students will then be able to see that they have received feedback for their task, which they can view by clicking on the task bubble and working through the comments. Students can apply the comments directly by editing the document based on the feedback provided. Once students have made some changes to their work applying that feedback, they can click Mark Complete, and then the response will store in their completed tasks.